All right. How's it going? How's Cyber Week is going for you all? Woo! Okay. I know it's after lunchtime. Always the best time to moderate a panel, and I'm back. So allow me to please introduce our wonderful panelists for our panel about the AI shift transforming traditional industries. And we have Dr. Shlomit Wagman, former chair of Israel Financial Crime Agency. Yes, please welcome her. Eyal Oren, partner at Shibolet, fellow lawyer. Good to see you. And of course, Gil Gur Arie, Chief Product Officer at Claroty. All right. So let's kick it off. I'm super excited about this panel because for me, the ability of AI to transform industries, that's probably the most optimistic, panel we're going to have here today. There is a lot of reason to be happy and optimistic about the AI capabilities in defense, but we heard a lot about attacks. So I'm really excited about this panel that we're going to unpack here some of the opportunities. And I want to start with a very, very quick intro. We'll start from this side, and 60 seconds, who you are, and kind of what is the AI breakthrough that you're most excited about?
Okay, hi. So my name is Eyal Oren. I'm a partner with Shibolet Law Firm, part of the high-tech department and part of the AI team, dealing with most of our clients have challenges with AI, so this is one aspect. Obviously, we are, as everybody else here in the room, is part of an organization who needs to deal with AI, so we're looking at those aspects as well. When it comes to, what was the other question about?
What is one, I know there's a lot of AI going around, especially today in this conference, but what is the kind of one breakthrough that you're most excited about when it comes to transformation?
Okay, so obviously there are a lot of those, but if I need to mention one, I would say robotics. Okay, because for many years, mechanics was never the obstacle for advancement in robots and robotics, and the problem always was the brain, so to speak. Now with the AI advancements, obviously, there is a lot to expect, the advancements on robotics, and I cannot be excited more thinking of having a humanoid robot in your home, folding your laundry, for example. This is the most exciting I can think of.
An optimistic take on Battlestar's Galactica. I love it. Yes, over to you, Gil.
All right, hi, thanks. My name is Gil Gur Arie. Currently, I'm the Chief Product Officer for Claroty. But actually, recently, I was leading the data and AI for Ford Motor Company in the last 4 years-ish, leading through the disruptiveness of the information age of AI into traditional industries. I think the most exciting thing for me, and we actually talked about that previously, is just the pace of change. Even though it can be terrifying, but I enjoy the fact that if you think about something, if you can imagine something within the AI domain, it could be just weeks until this thing would be realized. You no longer have to wait for years until new technology breakthrough. It's just happening so fast. Again, could be terrifying. Maybe we'll talk about that, but I find it exciting.
Hi, good afternoon. My name is Shlomit Wagman. I'm actually combining 3 in 1, academia, private sector, and government. I used to lead in Israel the Anti-Money Laundering and Terrorism Financing Prohibition Authority. I was also the head of the Privacy Protection Authority. In private sector, I was a C-level in leading fintech unicorns, payments, and I'm working with many fintech companies and regtech companies. And academia, I'm at Harvard. I'm a fellow at Harvard and holding a PhD from Yale University, and now writing a book on agentic commerce. And the most exciting thing that I find at AI is agentic commerce and what happens when agents are actually conducting the transactions for us and completing that, and what can go wrong.
Very good, and I'll do 10 seconds about myself, especially since it's my second time here, and I'm not sure everybody knows. So my name is Dr. Amit Elazari. I'm the CEO and co-founder of OpenPolicy. We are a startup. We actually are an agent company. We scale the policy and government affairs expertise and work with customers from pre-seed to Snowflake and Wiz. And obviously, as a policy expert, for me, the most exciting area is all the change trusting governance and policy. And we'll talk a little bit more about that, as well as the ability to really train agents with expertise and kind of the services, vertical services, AI revolution. All right, so let's dive a little bit more as we are looking at this AI shift, you know, really proliferating across many industries, financial services, manufacturing, mobility. What do you see as some of the strongest opportunities to kind of drive welfare and increase efficiency? And, you know, of course, feel free to pick a vertical if you want to double down on a certain area. And we'll start this time with you, Shlomit.
Thank you. So I will focus on AI in finance. And I think that AI is a perfect use case for the financial ecosystem because everything is strictly regulated and we're handling money, which everyone cares about, and making sure that the process goes well. And from my experience, I already see a lot of implementation of AI in finance, and I'm doing that myself. We see, generally speaking, that financial institutions right now are focusing on three main use cases. The first is automation. There is a lot of automation and compliance and processes in financial institutions that they need to do and machine do better. We see also personalization. Every client become a VIP one because all of a sudden you can offer her exactly the product that she needs and fits her profile and the risk profile. And third is optimization, to look at the core processes of the financial institutions and improve them and think better about the processes and how to generate value. Now, it's super important because in the financial ecosystem, when we are transferring funds and money, each financial institution takes commission, a percentage of the amount, and if they're able to reduce costs, then they are profiting much more. And for example, one use case that I've implemented in the fintech company that I've been working with, Rapid Unicorn Payments, I basically changed the entire onboarding system and change it to agents. And by that, actually, I had AI agents instead of having low-cost employees. Low-cost employees in the Philippines, India, wherever that would be. Each of them needs to do a certain process, which take between 3 hours to 3 weeks sometimes of high-risk clients. And instead of that, I replaced them with machines. So AI agent in that case are the perfect use case. AI agent works 24/7, multilingual, they know all the languages, they don't make mistakes unless they were not configured properly, which I can speak in a minute, and they apply the same policy to everyone, they do not complain, they never have a bad day in the office, and they produce everything in the same systematic way, which is super important for financial institution to have the policy set correctly, and they're making less mistakes than people. This is more important. However, they have their own uniqueness and problems. We'll speak about it probably in a minute, and especially they as good as the person that designed them and that was able to teach them what they should follow and do. And for something that we just start to see is the agentic commerce and what happens when agent to agent are conducting transactions without human involvement. For example, you know, ChatGPT not only plan my vacation, but also can book hotels for me and restaurants and everything else based upon my own preferences, as it knows it from previous occasions that I want to have gluten-free restaurant or certain hotels. So we are getting into a universe of autonomous transactions, agent to agent, with smart contract behind that, and bidding, and new financial rails, including credit card payments, banks account, and also stablecoins.
I'm just thinking, should I give my credit card to an agent or my kids? Like, which one's going to spend more?
Which one, yeah, it's going to be worse. Probably in a minute, I will respond to that.
And I didn't say my wife just because she's in the audience.
So that's a fantastic answer and view into the financial sector. And I know, obviously, Gil, you come from a broad background of mobility and automotive, one of the most exciting sectors where we're seeing the application of AI. Would love to hear from you more.
Yeah, I think it's actually exciting. I mean, the first time I was walking into an automotive manufacturing plant, it's kind of a jaw-dropper experience. I don't know how many have been able to see that, because automotive companies, especially the large one, like Ford, where I was working, they perfected the industrial age like into extreme. The process of building a new vehicle every 57 seconds, that's like the pace, every 57 seconds, imagine that. A new vehicle is coming out of the assembly line, already built, tested, the right color, being shipped into a customer. So that's pretty like the edge of the industrial age. And then introducing AI, now you can actually do stuff that even when you perfected the machines, like the physical machines, the robots, the things that bend metal, now you can add sophisticated computer vision or audio analytics to make sure you don't have defects on the assembly line, which is something we've done. And that actually gives you a superhuman power, because a computer vision system is far capable of watching an area in the assembly line and making corrections or allowing a human to make correction, or a perfectly tuned and trained microphone can listen to a specific click on connecting two wires inside or like underneath the vehicle that a human can never hear. So unlocking that potential can just take manufacturing into a whole new level. And this industry was stale for the last 50 years. So it's pretty exciting to disrupt it. I'm not sure everybody is excited. Maybe the UAW, the union, is not too excited. But still, that's what I saw, and I think it's a magnificent value unlock.
I want to pick up something that you said about welfare, and I think Shlomit related to that, because when I heard you talking, I saw some people moving not very conveniently in their seats. And obviously there is an elephant in the room, or there is a human in the room. And 2 weeks ago, more or less, my daughter came to me. She just finalized a digital production course, Excellency. And a week later, she came to me and she told me, Dad, I'm not sure I will be able to make a living out of it. What do you think? And I started to think, and I said, well, really, I don't know what to answer. And this is just a small example of what all of us, when it comes to welfare, all of us as humans are going to face, because looking back a little bit about other technological revolutions we had in the past, the Industrial Revolution and the Digitization Revolution, etc., they all enhanced us as humans, enhanced our abilities. But with the AI era now, as we discussed earlier, our brain is under direct competition. Think of it, our brain, and it's the first time ever in history at that magnitude. And when this happens, you start thinking, okay, so what is going to be my added value from now on? What can I, as human, offer for my next employer as an added value beyond what AI can offer them? Those questions don't have easy answers, not today, and I'm not sure when they are going to have easy answers. And, policymakers will have to put the man in the center, not just as we say, man in the loop. We'll have to put men in the center, because otherwise, and this is when it comes to opportunity, I think that the mental health industry is going to have quite a boom.
I think it's a great perspective and great segue. From my perspective, we happen to work with a lot of cybersecurity companies, data companies, dual-use companies, and I think one of the most, and we talked a little bit about it here. One of the most exciting opportunities that I see is the scaling of AI to bring cutting-edge, cybersecurity capabilities, compliance capabilities to small and medium businesses, to increase the ability to defend against the attack surface, and really kind of level the playing field, if you will, between capabilities that machine learning was always there. There are companies, Darktrace is one example, that have been doing it for a long time. But the fact that every software company can build right now with AI first is really creating tremendous opportunities, right? And as a startup ourselves, we had the advantage of we scrape a lot of, information about public policies and things that took our competitors 5 years to clean data. We can do it with a scraper agent pretty fast. So that is really exciting, the opportunities for startups, for small businesses. But you also talked about the risks, and I think it's worth talking a little bit really and unpacking here. Obviously, with this transformation, AI coming into every vertical, very complex verticals from both a regulatory perspective, like healthcare, AI making decisions, AI making decisions on the battleground, if we're talking about dual-use applications and the battlefield. What are some of the key risks that you're seeing, as well as, not to be kind of overly pessimistic, what are some of the solutions? And, I'll chime in the end with some of the policy trends that we are seeing. But let's start with you, Shlomit, and then we'll take it from there.
Okay, risks. I don't want to terrify anyone, but in the financial domain, so as I mentioned, we are getting into the era of agentic commerce where agent to agent will conduct the business and Gil's kids or the bot will make mistakes. Now, let's assume that I'm driving home from here and asking my AI app to order dinner for me. Now, it knows exactly what I like to eat. It knows where I am. And it's going to order me a pizza from the pizza place that I like, exactly in the time limit that I have until I get home. But what happens if instead of one pizza margarita, it's going to order for me 100 pizza, anchovy pizza? Who's going to eat that? Who's going to pay for that? Who's going to bear the costs? What happened if my app that does the stock trading for me will make mistakes, and instead of selling my Apple stock in $300 per share when it reached there, it will buy for me 300 shares at that price, which is extremely expensive. Who's going to bear the cost, and what will happen then? So we are getting into a world in which we have a lot of opportunities for mistakes that cost a lot of money, and hacking, of course. Now, in the AI domain, in the AI era, fraud became easier, much easier than ever before. With deepfake, it is super easy to create social engineering attacks, to get unauthorized access to bank account, and to also conduct social engineering attack and making people to actually transfer funds from their account to yours without even understanding that they were hacked. We see that it's very easy to generate photos, KYC, to just bypass all the current systems that we have, and also the social engineering. We see how banks are trying to stop their clients from transferring funds to the woman that they met online and to send her a ticket or something else. And those people are just refusing to say, but I know her, she's my girlfriend, we've been in touch for months now, I saw her, I spoke with her. Or companies that, people are sending funds because the CFO told them over a Zoom conversation that they should do that. Everything, of course, was fake and was a synthetic content. So in the deepfake environment, I think that we're going to see a tsunami of fraud, and many cases in which the funds are just going to leave our account without even us knowing that or having the opportunity to deal with that. And therefore, if we're talking about also solutions, I think that there are a couple of ways that we need to act. And regulators need to think about. First, defense AI. We need to make sure that the industry here, everyone that is working on cyber and on AI, need to actually come up with ideas and investment in defense AI, not only on AI, Gen AI, but also defense AI. Second, we need to rethink the digital identity, how we are creating that, what do we trust, how we verify conducting certain transactions. I'm talking about the financial domain, but it applies to all others. Three, we need to think about, some protocols and standards for the industry to develop to make sure that, for example, with respect to deepfake, we had some like watermark or any other mechanism, global mechanism that will allow us to resist that and to counter that and to have interoperability. And also, it's super important to have the public educated and understand that never trust what you see online, even if you speak with that.
I think I just add, because Shlomit covered it pretty comprehensively, is that although the attack surface is now larger and the ability of the attackers using AI is kind of hit as much as they can, that in fact also create an opportunity for companies like people here on the audience to be safe enough, secure enough in their system using technology, cybersecurity technology. So the attacker, which is now aiming for the masses, will just hop on to the next victim because your walls are kind of midway high. That's maybe not the best, but it's better than the others. So they wouldn't focus onto you, but rather skip into the next industry or the next bank or the next individual buying something online. So that just to give the optimistic perspective, but that still means you need to invest some energy and probably resources and money and get some protection up and running.
Okay, so I think you were quite comprehensive. Then you were more comprehensive even. I was about to refrain completely from legal risks, but nothing left to talk about, so we can talk a little bit about those, which obviously comes into mind questions around all these technologies, what legal risks they pose. Like 2 years ago, when Europe came up with the EU AI Act, and it was, the first pillar that started to, try to confront all of those risks. And there is still, and there was during those 2 years, a lot of uncertainty of what is allowed, what is not allowed, et cetera, et cetera. To my personal opinion, the regulatory regimes around the world are having challenges now due to the fact that nobody wants to, nobody wants to be in the way of the technological advancement, as we spoke before. I was hearing you about fraud, and I was hearing about class actions, etc. It will always be there.
I completely agree. I mean, I think I spoke here on this stage 2 years ago about AI policy. My perspective is AI regulation policy is here. EU Act, obviously, if you're a large organization, you are neck deep already in ISO and NIST RMF, and we are preparing for the EU Act and code of practice, but the entire fabric of policy is converging between cybersecurity, privacy, and AI. We are expecting President Trump to sign an executive order attempting to preempting state legislation, but we already are aware that there are certain voices in Congress that are going to try to legislate kind of a counteraction. It's going to be very interesting. But the bottom line is if you're a cybersecurity or innovative company that is creating a solution, you cannot afford to ignore the body of AI policies and regulations as well. And kind of speaking of this, one of the most interesting terms that often arises in the context of AI is this term arms race. And I think it means different things to different people. We are very focused on kind of the geopolitical implication of arms race and kind of the national competitiveness of AI and how it's kind of operating between jurisdiction. But I definitely want to make sure, we get the perspective kind of the panel. And this time I would like to start with you, Eyal.
Thank you. Yes, arms race. You can look at it in many angles. As you just mentioned, I think the most interesting one, which touches us all, is I don't know if it's political, but the arms race for the AGI. And everyone in the room can have another definition of what is AGI, but roughly speaking, we know what we're talking about. And I was touching before the regulations. I think the reason that the US on the one hand is let's say, representative of the West on the one hand and China on the other hand, they are running basically the arms race for the AGI. Each of them has its advantages and disadvantages. I think we can name, hopefully, because we are here, still the West and the US has some advantage when it comes to the semiconductors. But as could be heard lately, China is way ahead of the West when it comes to infrastructure and power, infrastructure for power, which will be one of the biggest challenges in the years to come when it comes to the advancement of AI.
Yeah, I thought about the chip shortage that you mentioned, and the automotive business really took a hard hit on that post the coronavirus. Even though silicon is actually one of the most abundant natural resources on the planet, chips are not in that state. And I think there is a race right now. This is why NVIDIA valuations just keep going up. And I think companies as well as governments are trying to stockpile as much GPU and firepower in order to push energy towards that AI race. And I think that one is part of what drives the market currently on a very specific area, but I think it's worth mentioning.
Thank you. Since you cover already the geopolitical tension, I will focus on the bad guys versus the good guys, and this is what all you here are for, how to make sure that the bad guys are not breaking into your system. So there is a urgent need to move to AI native protection systems. We still see how many institutions are using rule-based systems to protect themselves, especially in the financial domains. And I'm working with companies how to develop AI natives system that will be able to identify the tsunami of fraud that I've just described and all other threats, unique threats that current teams and current system are unable to detect, to prevent, and to stop in time. And there is a need to do a huge development on that, and I think that this is the micro challenge that each company has to deal with today.
Fantastic. So amazing opportunities, some risks, but we have ideas on how to address them. Thank you so much for the panelists. Thank you to the audience. Have a wonderful rest of the day.
Thank you.
Thank you.